So let's bring in now Hudson Institute Senior Fellow Rebeccah Heinrichs. Rebeccah, so great to have you and your expertise on this important night. I want to start with President Trump's announcement that the ceasefire for now has been extended. We are waiting to see what the next round of talks will be involving our Vice President J.D. Vance over in Pakistan. But at this moment, at this juncture, what do you make of the ceasefire? You know, one kind of optimistic look, I think, could be perhaps there is some deal making around the corner. What is your take?
Well, first of all, I think it's really important to keep in mind Secretary Besson actually just put out a post on X where he very clearly emphasized that the United States is maintaining our blockade. So one of the demands on the Iranian side was that to negotiate further, they wanted the United States to remove the blockade. We really cleverly put that blockade in place while Vice President Vance was on his way to Pakistan the first time to engage in these talks. And so that is not moving, and that is really crushing the Iranian regime's ability to have any kind of resources. About $450 million a day that is being cut off from the regime. So that's in place. The other thing that's interesting is the Iranians were not able to actually put somebody forward that had the ability to negotiate in good faith because there's a breakdown in the power structure inside Iran. There's a rump regime of political leaders we've been talking to, and then there is the IRGC. Of course, that's the military command that protects the regime, and the head commander has said that he's not going to listen to the politicians. So until there can be an individual from the rump regime, the Iranian rump regime, that can negotiate and actually make good on what they promise, the United States is saying basically we're not going to send an American official all the way to Pakistan.
Rebeccah, I think the blockade is masterful, and I think it's devastating for Iran. My question is, when I look at oil markets or what's going on in the U.S., can you do the blockade but still create a corridor so that our allies can move product around the globe, but Iran is constrained? Is that possible to do in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it is possible. That's exactly what we're doing. So the United States Navy and Secretary Hegseth has said it's about 10% of our naval forces there. So the rest of our Navy is still doing its job across the globe. That's why you saw an interdiction all the way near China, where you saw this Iranian sanctioned ship going in that direction as well. The Navy's very busy right now, but what we're doing with the Navy is we basically have a point defense, defending and making sure that from these Iranian ports that there's no oil coming and going. But we're also sort of having like a zone defense, making sure that Iranian sanctioned ships outside that area are also not getting into Iran. And that includes interdicting some ships that might have some component parts, some dual purpose systems that may even go towards the Iranians' ballistic missile program. We're interdicting all of that while letting innocuous, harmless ally ships move through that area. But we still have to increase the confidence of our allies that those areas, the Strait of Hormuz, is safe, which is why I've been a big advocate of getting some of these other ally nations in there to help us, and basically, essentially, do an escort of these ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
I think you bring up a really good point when you mention China as well, because of the global ramifications of this blockade. It's not just on Iran, which the clock is ticking because they only have so many weeks where they can continue to store the oil that they have, and then they have to stop producing, which would be devastating for them. But 90% of Iran's oil is going to China, and there are reports that China party leader Xi just put in a help call, SOS, calling a friend. They tried to call Saudi Arabia and say, please help reopen the strait. You got to think they need that oil. What kind of position does this put Beijing in?
Well, this is really interesting because keep in mind that Iran is essentially a partner of the Chinese Communist Party, and so was Maduro-controlled Venezuela. If you take Venezuelan oil, combine it with Iranian oil export, that's about 18% of Chinese oil imports, of what China imports. So it really puts the squeeze on China if you're blocking that Iranian oil. And of course, the United States has already planted the American flag in Venezuela, and we're working with this interim government since we snatched Maduro essentially from his bed in Venezuela. So this is putting the squeeze on China. China finally essentially hyped up and said, okay, we got to get the Strait opened up. But notably, and as President Trump has noted, China's not willing to actually push the Iranians to stop their attacks on the United States. In fact, we do have some reported evidence that China is trying to sneak in some potential dual-capable parts to help the IRGC continue the fight.
I think China's looking around the globe and finding that President Trump has shifted a lot of the chess pieces in ways that no longer advantage them. Rebeccah Heinrichs, we got to leave it there. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Rebeccah.
Thank you.
All right.